What is going on, guys? ScorpionSlayer66 here, coming at you for another episode of monthly vinyl pickups. And this month I actually grabbed a decent amount of stuff, a lot of relatively new stuff, so let's hop right into it. I actually started doing cassette posts on my Instagram, so I've been picking up a lot of cassettes as of recently, so I'm just going to rifle through these kind of quickly. The first one is Christian Death, Jesus Points the Bone at You. Never listened to this band, but I was really intrigued by the name of the band, the title, and apparently it's like really classic goth rock, so very excited to check this one out. Then we have The Doors' Morrison Hotel, one of my personal favorites from The Doors, probably top 3 releases from them. Just really love how bluesy and hard rock inspired this one was. Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love, not my personal favorite, probably my least favorite from the group in all honesty, but still most of the songs are just absolutely incredible, so yeah. Neil Young, Harvest Moon, this came out in the 90s, so it's more typical to find this one on cassette as opposed to vinyl, but now I own it on both formats. Patti Smith, Gone Again, never listened to this album, but I'm a huge Patti fan, and for $1, why not? Next up is the Patti Smith group Wave. Really good album from the group. Definitely recommend this if you're trying to get into the group further than just horses. Probably my favorite cassette that I picked up this month. This is Peter Tosh's Legalize It. I'm really into reggae music right now especially, so finding this was super cool. This is definitely one of my favorite reggae albums. It's right near some of Bob Marley's best work, Burning Spear, stuff like that. So yeah, very happy to find this one. 90s alternative rock is the best on cassette, so I definitely had to snag Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden when I saw it. And the last cassette that I grabbed this month is Stone Temple Pilots' Core, classic grunge alternative rock, alternative metal from the 90s. Had this on vinyl, and it was the last Stone Temple Pilots tape. I needed to have them all. So the first thing for this month was my pre-order for Vince Staples' newest album titled Big Fish Theory. Very cool. First off, it comes with his autograph on the front of like the slipcover, and then it comes in these 2 like gatefold plastic sleeves, which I'm really not digging because they're already broken at the bottom, so they're kind of already exposed, but yeah, that's whatever. Again, it's a double picture disc, very cool, and these actually do sound really nice for picture discs. And what was even cooler about my copy was I had like number 183 out of however limited these were. I'm not entirely sure, but that's a super low number, so yeah, very excited. Definitely one of my favorite albums of the year, definitely one of the best rap albums of the year. Another pre-order for an album that came out this year. This is Igloo Ghost's Neo Wax Bloom. Definitely one of my top 10 albums of the year. I mean, it's just such a stunning piece of like electronic music, and I'm not even into the genre like that. So yeah, amazing artwork on this. I mean, I can't give it praise enough. So yeah, it's very cool. Really great electronic music, like I was saying, just bizarre, out there, but very playful type of stuff. So yeah, it actually comes with the download code on one of the record sleeves, which is pretty cool. I've never seen that done before, so that was interesting. And it comes with like a whole bunch of extra goodies, like there's a sticker sheet of all the characters, which is awesome. There's like a little children's storybook of like the album and what the story behind the album is, so yeah, it's really cool stuff. I will be putting some of those stickers somewhere, hopefully soon. They're really awesome, and like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite albums of the year. Might even end up being in my top 5 depending on how things go these last couple months. So yeah, amazing album. Definitely listen to this if you guys haven't. Igloo Ghost definitely deserves more recognition. Next up, I mentioned I was going to be receiving this in the last video, and this is the Velvet Underground Live Volume 2. Again, Velvet Underground are my favorite band of all time, so it's kind of mandatory that I buy everything I possibly can from them. And their live stuff is just honestly incredible. Some of the most interesting, experimental, like kind of avant-garde type stuff. And it's just absolutely amazing. Like, I used to hate it initially, but over time I've just grown to think they're one of the greatest live bands of all time. So yeah, just more for my Velvet Underground collection. Next up was a random Discogs purchase I made, and this is the Wipers, Youth of America. I was really into the Wipers all last month. I have no idea why, but I just kind of was, and I realized I didn't have any of their records, so this is my personal favorite, so I had to grab it. This was a random $2 bin purchase, and this is Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So I guess this was their first album without Neil Young in it. And apparently it's amazing from what people tell me, so yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to spin it yet, but I really do like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, so I'm hoping that I like this one as well. And it was only $2, so it was really not that big of a risk. Always excited to add to my Talking Heads collection, and this is True Stories. Now, this is really cool because, first off, I didn't even have this album, and I'm very close to a complete Talking Heads collection. But it's also a promotional copy. I don't know if I'll be able to show that off. But essentially, I guess this belonged to a local radio station back in the day, or maybe they were all printed like that, and I'm just kind of dumb and didn't do my research. But yeah, you know, most of the time promotional copies mean radio or DJ copies, so yeah, just another fantastic album in the Talking Heads catalog. I mean, they just have absolutely one of the best discographies of all time, so really cool to have this one finally. This was actually kind of an impulse purchase, and this is Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking. Now, I've always kind of liked Jane's Addiction, but I was never like super into them. But I saw that this was like a limited edition that came on like a really cool clear vinyl, so I picked it up, and I'm really loving it so far. I mean, I thought I enjoyed them before, but I'm really digging them. And like I said, it's on like this beautiful clear vinyl here. But yeah, just some really great rock music from the 80s, right? If I remember correctly. Yep, 1988. So bordering on the 90s. But yeah, just great stuff. I started listening to them a little bit more, and I really want to get Ritual de la Habitual on vinyl as well, if that's how you pronounce it. Maybe I'm fucking it up, but whatever. Good album. Very glad that I picked this up on an impulse buy. We have yet another 2017 album in this video, and this is Neil Young's Hitchhiker. Now, this is very exciting because this was an unreleased album from Neil's prime in the 70s. If I remember, it was like 1976 that this album was supposed to come out. So yeah, just Neil Young at the top of his career in terms of his songwriting, his guitar skills, how very basic he played things out. So yeah, amazing album, definitely one of my favorites this year, even though technically it's an old album. But yeah, just Neil Young at his absolute peak, just fantastic stuff. Next up is yet another 2017 album, and this is Godspeed You, Black Emperor's Luciferian Towers. Now, I'm a huge fan of Godspeed You, Black Emperor. I think pretty much every album they've ever done is amazing, and this one is really no different. It's super dark, brooding, atmospheric, doomy, uplifting. It's just so jarring how many emotions they fit into a single record every single time they release something. And they put a lot of effort into their packaging as well. Like, they literally just included a red square with writing that says Godspeed You, Black Emperor plays Luciferian Towers. So yeah, and then on the back it breaks down the parts of the album and stuff. So yeah, very cool stuff. Again, another one of my favorite albums of the year. This pressing is mint. It is amazing. I mean, Godspeed You usually has pretty good pressings, but this one is just fantastic. So yeah, definitely an amazing album from this year. If you guys haven't checked it out and you've liked their previous stuff, or you like kind of instrumental music, definitely check this out. Yet another 2017 album. This is Brand New's Science Fiction. Now, this was an album I was highly anticipating, and they didn't let me down as usual. I mean, this album is just incredible. Pretty much probably in my top 3 releases from the band, honestly. It's just what makes them so good as an emo group, and I'm not even into the emo genre like that, but they just have the right knack for songwriting, a really nice like push-pull kind of like kinetic energy type of thing. So yeah, another fantastic album from this year, Brand New's Science Fiction. This was very exciting for me to find. This is Miles Davis's On the Corner. If you guys know me, I adore his album Bitches Brew. It's in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. And this is from the same period, which is my personal favorite Miles period, which was the 70s. But yeah, just really good like Afrocentric, Latin, Afro, jazz music. Really like frenetic, very energetic, just insane stuff going on here. I mean, obviously everybody knows what was going down in the 70s, and that's what helped push these songs to such crazy energy levels. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Definitely one of my favorite Miles albums, right up there with Bitches Brew, honestly, for me. So yeah, very excited to finally have this one still in the shrink wrap. Another more recent album, this is Kink Rules' 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. I actually only discovered Kink Rules within the last few years. I mean, I know he's only been around since like 2011, but I've been like hearing him on and off since like 2013, 2014. And yeah, just some really fantastic, like kind of indie, alternative, jazzy rock music, I don't know how to really classify it, honestly. It takes a lot of inspiration from jazz, a lot of it from hip-hop, but a lot of like indie ideas, and it's just really good stuff. He has an amazing voice and he uses his accent so well, and it's just such an effective like mood setting type album. So yeah, very excited to have this one. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I picked up a lot of current albums, and here we have yet another one released this year, and this is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Sketches of Brunswick East. Another one of my favorites of the year. I mean, King Gizzard, as you guys know, are like one of my favorite bands, and this is definitely like one of my favorites from them. A lot of people are saying it's kind of boring, but I think it's really a nice sounding album, and I appreciate like all the sonics to it, but I can totally see where some people would get bored with it. But again, I just personally love it a lot. I've been listening to it a shit ton lately. So yeah, really cool stuff. And I love this cover. It's like all matte finish, and it works so well with the cover art. So yeah, let's hope King Giz can go 4 for 4 or even 5 for 5 with these next albums this year. And we have yet another 2017 album, but this one is actually one of my personal top 5 albums of the year so far. This is Courtney Barnett and Kurt Weill's collaboration album, A Lot of Sea Lice. Just really fantastic, like acoustic indie folk rock music. They make very southern style, Neil Young-esque type music, but they just give it such an energy, and they each have such like a sarcastic side to them, and it's just really great. Their songwriting melding together, their playing melding together, it's just fantastic. Also, the record on this is cool because it opens like a barn door on the front cover to like a really nice picture collage. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Like I said, these guys are great. I like each of their solo stuff a lot, but them together is just amazing, and I really hope that they do more in the future. So I saw Death Grips in the middle of October, and I went to Repo Records in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and these next 4 items all came from there when I went to see Death Grips. The first one being Kurt Weill's Smoke Ring for My Halo. Now this was pretty much right after A Lot of Sea Lice came out, and I was just listening to it so much and I wanted to add some more Kurt Weill, so I grabbed this one. Definitely one of my favorites from him. It's a lot darker, a lot more brooding, but I really, really like the direction he went on this one. His songwriting isn't the best, but again, really, he just has a knack for hitting a certain mood and having it appeal to like everyone. So yeah, very cool stuff. Another Godspeed You Black Emperor record, and this one is Alleluia, Don't Bend, Ascend. Now, this is one of my personal favorites from Godspeed You. I feel like after their long hiatus, for them to come back and retouch up old demos and add like a new flair to it was a genius move, and it really just shows on this album. I mean, it's so heavy, so dark, depressing, dismal, whatever words you want to use, but it always in the end comes out hopeful and almost political in a sense, like refreshing you on ideas of how to view the world. And again, it's just amazing stuff, and they really, again, know how to make a damn good record package. So yeah, really good stuff. Like I said, guys, I love Godspeed You Black Emperor, and this is definitely one of my favorites from them. Another 2017 album, this is Ariel Pink's Dedicated to Bobby Jameson. This is definitely one of my favorites of the year. I mean, this is some of the most interesting pop music I've ever heard, like all time. It's just, he blends so many different genres on each different song, but they all have this pop sensibility with like a post-punk edge, and it's just fucking incredible. And this is definitely my favorite release from Ariel. Just amazing stuff, and the packaging is awesome. Black and pink is such like a really amazing color combination, and it comes on this cool cobalt translucent blue vinyl, so that's also cool. But yeah, really fantastic stuff, guys. I know pop music turns a lot of people off, but this is anything but the average pop music. I highly suggest you give this a listen. And the last thing that I picked up on my trip to Repo Records was the Flaming Lips Soft Bulletin. I've been looking for this album for a while, ever since I really started getting into the Lips more, and it's been so hard for me to find a copy out in the wild, but luckily Repo had one. But yeah, just a classic album, honestly. It was the first 10 out of 10 Pitchfork ever gave to a new album, so yeah, I don't agree with that score personally, but it is a fantastic album, one of the most interesting produced albums out there, and just some of the absolute most like amazing alternative songs of all time. Also, while I was at Repo, I picked up a t-shirt of The Wipers and this Sufjan Stevens Carrie and Lowell cassette. The day we went, it was actually cassette store day, so they just had like a bunch of newer albums pressed on cassettes, and this was the last copy of this one, and obviously I love Sufjan, so had to grab it. So getting down to the last three, these are all current albums that just came out this year, and these are all pre-orders. So the first one I got is Richard Dawson's Peasant. I had no idea about this guy, but then obviously Anthony Fantano of The Needle Drop does a review, gives it a really positive rating, and I hated it at first. I thought this was so gross and out there, but then a couple more listens and it's become one of my favorite albums of the year. So yeah, just some really weird, like, medieval-esque old folk music, like 1920s and 30s, like before even like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and such. So yeah, just some of like the heaviest and weirdest, like freaky folk tunes out there, but it's really catching my ear heavy. So yeah, this was really cool. And I also got the limited edition color pre-order, which was nice. It's a cool, like, toxic wasty, like yellow, almost like my one copy of King Gizzard's Flying Microtonal Banana. So yeah, very cool stuff, very happy. And this got here really quick for coming from the UK, so awesome stuff. Next up is Idol's Brutalism. Definitely one of the most amazing rock records of this year. It's UK, like, on the nose, hilarious, crude humor, punk hardcore at its absolute finest, and it makes me so happy that good punk music is coming out right now, because it's so hard to find good punk music, but when it comes out, it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, great packaging on this one. Love everything about it. It's just some of the most heavy, humorous stuff that's been released this year, and I can't stop listening to it. And the final thing that I picked up for the month of October, this is Kink Rules, The Ooze. Definitely one of my favorite albums of the year. I, again, hated it the first time I listened to it, but as I kept listening to it, it kept growing more and more on me, and right now it currently sits in my top 5 albums of the year as well. So yeah, just some absolutely amazing stuff. Really like lo-fi, very like wavy, vibey type stuff, but it's a nice mix of like indie rock, jazz, punk. It's just some of the most interesting genre blending I've heard from a record in a little while, and Archie's voice, like I said earlier, about 6 Feet Beneath the Moon, just absolutely killer. He uses his accent to such a great, like, regard, and it's just amazing stuff. So yeah, very happy to have this, and you'll probably be seeing this on my end of the year best albums list. So that is everything I picked up in the month of October, guys. Let me know down below, what was your favorite thing I picked up, and what are some albums I should listen to? Let me know. And while you're down in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, guys, take care.